we see a secret private agent, Walter, at a fair. He goes into a store and places a letter in a box kept there. After that, he steals a jacket from a nearby store and heads out onto the street, but he is soon run over by a speeding vehicle, resulting in Walter's death on the spot. Next, we see Walter's son, James Hale, a Navy commander training some cadets underwater. As soon as James surfaces, a soldier informs him that his father has died in a hit-and-run accident. James goes silent to the morgue and sees his father's dead body. Later, he returns to his home, located on a Hawaiian island, where he tells his wife Lila that his father died in a hit-and-run. James also has 2 children, Lonnie and Kai. Lila suggests that he should tell his younger brother Johnny about it. James says that Johnny doesn't take his calls. Lila then tells him to send a message, because Johnny should also know that his father has died. The scene then cuts to Johnny, a police officer in Oklahoma City. He sees his girlfriend, Valentina, packing her belongings into her car. Johnny is a very careless man and doesn't care much about his girlfriend, Valentina, so Valentina wants to end the relationship and move on, because Johnny has even forgotten that it's Valentina's birthday today. Johnny tries hard to convince her, but Valentina doesn't relent and leaves. Johnny is at home when Lila calls him and tells him that his father has died in a road accident. She urges him to attend the funeral the next day. However, Johnny doesn't let her finish and hangs up the phone, because his relationship with Walter wasn't good, as Walter had abandoned his mother when Johnny was little. Johnny is in the bathroom using the toilet when 2 men break into his house and ask him about a package sent by Walter, which Johnny knows nothing about. Then, one of the men shows Johnny a tattoo on his chest, which is associated with the Yakuza gang. Soon, a brutal fight erupts between Johnny and the goons. Johnny savagely beats them and ultimately kills them. The next day, Walter's funeral takes place. James notices that members of 2 gangs, the Yakuza gang and the Syndicate gang, have also come to attend Walter's funeral. Hanani, James's sister, says that Walter was a private detective, which is probably why these people are here. Moments later, Johnny also arrives to attend the funeral and meets James's children. Kai asks Johnny if he couldn't ever see him before, to which Johnny replies that his father doesn't like him because he is more handsome than him. Governor Peter Maho, who is very close to James's family, conducts the funeral proceedings. During dinner, Governor Peter tells James that his mother always wanted her 2 sons to live under the same roof, but Johnny says that he didn't come for the funeral, but to find out who killed Walter. Everyone is shocked to hear this. James says it was a hit-and-run case, but Johnny says he doesn't think so because the previous night, members of the Yakuza gang came to his house and tried to kill him. James asks Johnny to meet him outside the house. Johnny tells James that someone killed Walter, but James doesn't believe him, which frustrates Johnny, and he leaves. Johnny goes to a bar where he meets his old friend Alakai, who works for Mr. K, the head of the Syndicate gang. Alakai tells Johnny that Mr. K wants to meet him. However, Johnny gently refuses to meet him and starts to leave. But then he faints because the bartender had drugged his drink. Mr. K catches Johnny and tells him to go back where he came from and stop killing his men. Mr. K forcefully makes a mark on Johnny's face and gives him 7 days to leave his territory. Afterward, they knock Johnny unconscious and leave him by the seashore. Commander James asks Detective Rennert to show him the police report regarding his father's death. Detective Rennert says he will show him the report, but he won't find anything in it because no evidence was found. Detective Rennert tells James that he is poking a bear that doesn't want to be poked. In response, James tells Rennert that he doesn't really know who he is, and he is the bear. In his car, James carefully examines the evidence. He finds a slip of paper in his father's wallet with several names written on it. Johnny arrives at Walter's house and thoroughly searches it. Suddenly, he hears a noise outside the door and hides immediately. Johnny sees a man frantically searching for something in Walter's room. The man sees Johnny and immediately runs away, but Johnny chases after him and eventually knocks him down with a powerful punch. Johnny asks him what he was doing in Walter's, his father's, apartment. Pika tells him that he worked for Walter, doing things like hacking people's emails and taping phone calls. Johnny asks him what the last job he did for Walter was. Pika says that he got a job with Nui Loa, a catering company. James investigates his father's death location. He finds a CCTV camera facing the street, and hoping that the CCTV camera must have captured everything, he goes to an adult shop. He tells the receptionist that he needs the CCTV footage of the day his father died outside. The receptionist calls his uncle. The store owner flatly refuses to show James the video footage, so James gives him some cash and says that it is compensation for the damage he is going to cause. After this, a brutal fight breaks out between James and the goons. Johnny takes Pika to his father Walter's apartment, where he stumbles upon a surfboard. Johnny presses the surfboard, which reveals a hidden blueprint. Governor Peter Mohi is campaigning for himself in the upcoming elections. Johnny calls Honani and asks her what she actually does for Peter. Honani tells him that she manages emails, PR, and plans events for him. Johnny tells Honani that he found a blueprint of a plan in Walter's apartment, which has the governor's seal on it. Honani says that there must be an 8-digit number written on the file, which he should text to her. Shortly afterward, James also breaks into Walter's apartment and finds Johnny there. James shows Johnny a flash drive he forcibly obtained from the adult shop owner. Johnny accesses the data and finds footage of his father being brutally hit and killed by a blue van without a license plate. James and Johnny conclude that this wasn't just a hit and run, but a deliberate murder. Johnny tells Pika that he needs information about all the blue vans on the island. On top of that, he asks him to give him a list of all the events that Nui Loa, a caterer, organized over the last week, and what they have coming up for the next 2 weeks. As Johnny and James are returning, some thugs attack them, but the thugs are not good enough to subdue or kill the duo of stepbrothers. Johnny tells James to jump out of the truck. He then targets the truck's gas tank and explodes it. However, James is very angry with Johnny because he blew up his car. Detective Rennert calls James and Johnny to his office and tells them that they killed Yakuza's thugs. James hands Detective Rennert a flash drive, saying it contains footage of Walter's murder. After returning home, James and Johnny attempt to decode the blueprint with the help of Honani. Honani says that she tracked down the original architect and found some papers for a property on the east side of Honolulu Island. They were commissioned by Marcus Robichaud, a big hail developer. His family controlled the sugarcane industry on the island for generations. James learns that Robichaud is building a casino by demolishing an existing settlement. Honani reveals that Robichaud is hosting his annual fundraiser for the art museum tomorrow. The next day, James and Johnny arrive on Hawaii Island, where Robichaud is planning to build his casino. They meet with the community members who are staying there. The community members tell them that the land is very important to them, so they would protect it. Meanwhile, Johnny receives a call from Pika, who tells him that the police have recovered a blue van from the ocean. Detective Rennert shows Johnny a list containing information about all the blue vans on Honolulu Island. Johnny asks Pika to gather information about Hayashi Imports, because the van list given by Rennert had only one name in Japanese. Pika informs him that Marcus Robichaud's party is about to start in a few hours. Marcus Robichaud is welcoming the people coming to his party. Just then, James and Johnny enter the party dressed as waiters. Johnny sees a beautiful girl at the party and follows her. James starts doing the dishes. Soon, a Japanese man comes to him and asks for a plate. Johnny starts talking to the girl and tells her that his name is Johnny Hale, which surprises the girl. Monica asks Johnny if he is Walter Hale's son, to which Johnny says yes and says that he is no longer in this world. On the other hand, the man is using drugs from the plate. James secretly picks up the plate and looks through the card, which has Hayashi Imports written on it, and the man's name is Nakamura. Johnny asks Monica how she knows his father, to which Monica tells him that she hired Walter to keep an eye on her husband Marcus Robichaud's activities because she suspects Marcus is cheating on her and she wants a divorce. James returns Nakamura's card and tells him that Hayashi Imports is called Small World. Nakamura asks him what he knows about it. James says he knows they misplaced a blue van. Hearing this, Nakamura immediately understands who James really is. Monica tells Johnny that she can't talk to him there, so she invites him to meet her the next day at the penthouse of Kiani Towers. James sees Johnny being taken away by 2 guards, and he suspects something is wrong. Suddenly, 2 guards come to take James away. Later, he and Johnny are presented before Marcus Robichaud. Marcus asks James for Johnny who they are. James then tells him that his name is James, and that he is his younger brother Johnny, and that they are both Walter Hale's sons. Marcus tells James that he gave Walter full pay and a bonus. Johnny tells Marcus that Walter is dead, and also knows that Marcus knows why they are both there. James asks Marcus why he hired Walter. Marcus tells him that he suspects his wife Monica is cheating on him, so he hired Walter to keep an eye on her. Afterwards, James and Johnny then leave. On the way, Johnny finds Monica's dead body lying on a car, outside a towering building. He quickly pieces it together. Marcus had his men throw her from the top floor of the hotel, turning her death into a calculated warning. Johnny becomes furious and returns to Marcus's compound and starts killing Marcus's goons. Then a guard subdues Marcus by giving him an electric shock from his special gun. After that, they hand Johnny over to the police. Governor Peter visits Johnny and tells him that he has convinced Marcus to drop the charges against him. Johnny tells him that Marcus killed his wife, to which Peter tells him that it's none of his business. Let the police handle it. Johnny is released from jail where James is waiting for him outside. However, he completely ignores James and moves on. James follows him and tells him that he won't get his mother back this way, which enrages Johnny, and he even attacks James. However, he doesn't stand a chance in front of Commander James. Johnny asks him what kind of brother he is, abandoning his younger brother when he needed him the most. James tells him that he is protecting him. Otherwise, the syndicate would have killed him the moment he was released from jail. Johnny says to James, "You have no idea what it's like to look at your mother dead in the streets. He couldn't protect her. You were all that I had left and you abandoned me." James realizes his mistake, realizing that he has neglected his duty as a big brother. He asks Johnny for forgiveness. James asks Johnny why he wants to find Walter's killer, as Walter was never his father, having abandoned him as a child. Johnny replies that he hasn't found the killer of his mother, and now that someone has killed his father, someone must bring them to justice. Valentina calls Johnny and tells him that she's at his house to pick up mail, and tells him about a package that arrived from Hawaii. Johnny tells her that it's the package the Yakuza are looking for. Johnny asks her what's in the package. Then Valentina tells him that it contains a thumb drive. Johnny urges her to send the drive to him immediately. Valentina travels to Hawaii herself to deliver the thumb drive. Pika inserts the drive into his laptop and opens it, but it's asking for some kind of 12-digit password. So, James then gives him the slip he found in his father's wallet, which contains 12 names. Meanwhile, they are attacked by the Yakuzas. After the close call, they finally reach a small roadside eatery, safe and sound. Meanwhile, Pika hacks into the thumb drive. Valentina scans the files and uncovers several international wire transfers. $12 million funneled over 3 years into Governor Peter Maho's account. James and Johnny are left utterly flabbergasted by the revelation. But as the pieces start falling into place, James and Johnny connect the dots. Marcus Robichaud wants to build a lavish casino resort in Hawaii. But to do that, he needs someone to legalize gambling. And that someone is the governor. $12 million was the price of his silence. Juanani then shows Peter the blueprint of a massive resort and casino planned by Robichaud on Hawaiian homelands. Peter firmly tells him he will not allow this to happen, and quietly keeps the blueprint for himself. Meanwhile, James and Johnny deduce that Simi Iona, the dead man whose body Reinhardt recovered from the ocean, must have been the governor's accountant. Walter likely found him and convinced him to download all the transaction records. Later, the accountant handed the drive over to Walter. Peter must have figured it out, which is why he desperately needed to retrieve the drive before the truth came out. That's why Walter was killed. James returns home with Johnny, Valentina, and Pika. He calls his wife Layla, but she doesn't show herself. So James calls her, but Layla's phone rings nearby. James desperately searches for his children, who are hiding in a room in fear. Kai tells James that they kidnapped his mother. Marcus video calls Johnny and shows him Hanani and Lila, whom he held captive in his basement. Marcus tells Johnny and James that he will leave Layla and Hanani only if they hand over the drive to him, and asks them to bring the drive to him right away. James takes Johnny to a hidden armory in his house, where he takes up his weapons. A little while later, both the brothers arrive at Marcus's mansion and shoot down his guards. Craig tries to approach the guards standing guard outside, but the guards don't answer back, so he goes out to investigate. James sneaks into the house and finds a photo of Marcus with Governor Peter Maho. Craig is stunned to see his guards dead in the pool and immediately informs Marcus about it, but then Johnny stabs him from behind, killing him. Marcus tells Nakamura to be prepared for the impending danger. James and Johnny succeed in finding Lila and Honani. James begins taking his family out of the house when his wife Lila tells him to go and help Johnny and tell Marcus that he messed with the wrong family. Nakamura opens fire on James. On the other hand, Johnny finds Marcus preparing to escape by a boat. Soon, a fierce fight starts between the two. James cuts off Nakamura's hand and finally kills him with his own sword. On the other hand, Marcus overpowers Johnny, beating him black and blue. Marcus tells Johnny that he is going to be killed in a short time, and within a year his casino will be ready and there will be no one on the island to stand in his way. That's when Johnny pulls out a hand grenade and reveals that he has already removed the pin. Within seconds, a violent explosion erupts, killing Marcus instantly as the blast hurls his body into the water below. Seeing his brother blown away before his eyes, James doesn't hesitate for even a second and dives straight into the water and manages to pull Johnny up just in time. For the first time ever, James holds Johnny tightly in his arms, not as a partner, not as an ally, but as a true elder brother who almost lost his little brother forever. Meanwhile, before Governor Peter Maho can make his escape, Detective Renard arrives at the scene and takes him into custody for conspiracy to commit murder. Peter pleads with James and his family to help him, but everyone stays silent, implying that they all have learned his reality. A cop forces him into the police car and leaves. Mr. K approaches Johnny with a smirk, casually reminding him that he's still on his island. But Johnny calmly replies that it's his island too. Without another word, Mr. K hands him a slip of paper. On it is the name of the man who killed Johnny's mother. Johnny then walks up to James and shows him the name. After reading it, James looks at Johnny and assures him that he's got his back, no matter what he decides to do. Johnny then places it into the fire and leaves with his elder brother to play around the island with the rest of his family. And just like that, we're left wondering, was that forgiveness or the beginning of something far more dangerous? You are watching a recap of the movie The Wrecking Crew 2026. Thank you for watching and enjoy our other videos as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.